Alright, and I'm back. So, the 6th episode of House of the Dragon aired last Sunday, and it was a big time skip. Everybody's really excited about it. I was nervous because it meant, you know, they could kind of fuck it up, and maybe the new actresses did not do as good of a job as the other ones. Well, it's here, and they skipped a bunch of stuff, so I'm going to fill you in on what you missed. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so like I said, they missed quite a few things. Like, I'm not going to go deep into details because they could still spoil some things. I've noticed throughout the show that they're kind of mixing up stories and it's a little bit confusing. But, I mean, there's a few interesting factors from a few interesting characters that I think would make the experience for you a little bit better. So I'm going to share those. So let's just get into it. Let's get into the episode. And so, let me just make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There you go. So, the episode begins with, we see Rhaenyra giving birth. So this is new Rhaenyra. And just right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, this time skip was really weird. I think this thing's bumpy in here. Time skip's really weird. Also, before I even get into this, I'm busy this Wednesday, so tomorrow, which I guess is today, because I'm going to be releasing this today. On Tuesday, that's when we're going to do our NFL podcast, me and my kid brother, because I think I'm busy Wednesday, so just in case, we're probably going to do it tomorrow. So if you want to listen live, it'll be tomorrow. Anyway, back to this. So, starting with something weird right off the bat from the podcast, the time skip here doesn't really make much sense in terms if you're thinking book terms. Because for those of you who didn't know, Rhaenyra, by the time she had her third child, which would be kind of right here, she was supposed to be of the ripe old age of 20. So she had her kid in her 20s. Now, in case you're wondering, the girl who played her originally, the original actress, I think it's Emily something. I might be wrong. Doesn't really matter. Millie something, I don't know, doesn't matter. That chick, she's actually 22. So the actress who played young Rhaenyra is older than book Rhaenyra when she had her third child. But, you know, Game of Thrones has always been fudging around ages. It makes everybody older than they should be. So, like, for example, Eddard Stark was supposed to be like in his 30s, 40s. So, again, they fudge up ages. It doesn't really matter. But here's the maybe fun part for me. I don't know if it's fun for you. Alicent, the girl who plays Alicent, she's 19 years old right now. So the actress who plays Alicent is younger than the girl who played young Rhaenyra. And in the books, by the time Alicent has her third baby and she's 20, Alicent is almost 40. So there's, again, a big age gap there. A massive one. It should have been more of a stepmother-stepdaughter relationship. Because, again, she's almost 20 years her senior. But I get it. They wanted to make it like a friend thing and all that tragedy and all that stuff. I get it. Totally understand it. I don't hate it, especially because the girl that they picked to do Alicent, I've mentioned she's been pretty much my favorite throughout. And so, alright, I can understand it. It's just fun fact. And another fun fact, this girl is 30. So new Rhaenyra is 30 years old. So I'm guessing if time skip, if we're going with a real age, it's been like 10 years. And based on the age of the kids, it seems like it's going to be 10 years. And the girl who plays Alicent, so old Alicent, she's actually 28. So again, they cast an Alicent that's younger than Rhaenyra. Why? I don't know. But that's what they did. So there you go. Does that have to do anything at all with the show? Not at all. But, you know, just in case you care. So again, the time skip was really weird. Because we need to have another one in order for the more interesting stuff to happen and for characters to be the appropriate age. So I don't really understand why they did such a short one. And they kind of... Listen, they've been fucking up the timing like crazy on this show. Like, stuff gets mixed up. Something's happened before they actually should have happened. It's a little bit crazy. They skip entire storylines that they kind of rushed in. It's really weird. It's really dumb. And it really doesn't make much sense because all this show, and I mean the entire season, has been based off of one chapter of one book. And it was kind of like a side book. It's called The Rogue Prince. If you read that, it's 24 pages long. The whole thing, like the whole PDF, so it includes the cover, or, you know, like the introduction, all that stuff. And you read pretty much this entire season. Like, everything that's happened in that show has been there. Even stuff that I was like, oh, well, they skipped this. No, it turns out, no, it's there. They just kind of fudged up the timing. So it's also, you know, better written. So if you want to check it out, there you go. It's going to be a massive spoiler, probably, but there you go. Anyway, so let's move on with this. So we get to see her, you know, giving birth. She gives birth to a baby boy, and as you notice, the baby boy is white with brown hair. So just, you know, keep that in mind because we're gonna get into the fun part. Anyway, so then a maid comes in and she's like, yeah, the queen wants to see the baby, and we're like, man, that sounds like a really bitch move from Allison. What the hell's going on? What does she want to see the baby? Like, she's like, the baby was literally just pulled out of the mom, so it seems kind of like off character for her, but all right, we'll see what happens. Then, you know, that she's like, all right, fine, I'll go. Everybody's like, are you crazy? You just had a baby. She's like, I'm gonna fucking go. And then the dad walks in and he's like, oh, let me help you. And then we get like the longest walking scene in history. Like, this scene is just takes forever. And I don't know why we have to see them walk the whole way. I guess it's because we're supposed to feel bad for Rhaenyra still bleeding, walking upstairs. I mean, we could have felt just as bad and not seen everything, this whole thing. And we get to see from their conversation that she, you know, she's the one that wears the pants in the relationship. And Laenor is clearly the beta here. Also, we saw that she's a little bit better at politicking. She had a conversation with the Lord there, and she was polite, at least, in a situation where she had every right to not be polite, so good for her. It looks like she learned a little bit. And so we keep seeing them walking until they reach the Queen's chambers. They reach the Queen's chambers, she sees the baby, and she's like, why'd you come? I didn't expect you to come. And it's one of those things like, did you really, though? Did you really? Anyway, here we kind of, we see Viserys, who's super happy to see the baby. He's like, oh my god, he's another baby. He's like, oh, he has your nose. And Laenor's like, sure, guy. And so, basically, this whole conversation ends with Alicent telling Laenor, like, hey, don't worry, keep trying. Maybe you'll get one that looks like you. And here we get into the fun part. So, if you guys did not know this, if you've only been listening to me, Laenor is half Targaryen, and he's also half black. So, for those of you who don't know, Laenor's last name is Velaryon, and this is part of the big controversy of the show because they decided to make the Velaryons black. So, the show, originally Velaryons, people from old Valyria. Well, they're descendants of old Valyria, and they have Valyrian blood, as you can imagine, and so do the Targaryens. The people with the blood of old Valyria are supposed to be, and this is the way they're described, they're supposed to be white with bright silver hair and purple eyes. That's the description. They decided to make the Velaryons black with gray hair for some reason, and not their beards or their eyebrows. It's really bizarre. It's a really bizarre choice, and they decided to pretend like it's not happening. Like, then nobody's gonna say anything. Nobody's gonna say it's gonna be weird. And for the very first episode, I told you, all right, fine, we're gonna pretend. Fine, we're gonna pretend that this is normal, even though in Westeros, your race kind of matters because it's how people, you know, identify where you're from and know whether or not they hate you. So again, if you're Dornish, they'll hate you. Why? Because Dorne is not part of the Seven Kingdoms at the moment, and they're kind of at war with each other, and they hate each other's guts. If you are from the Summer Islands, they'll feel one way from you. If you are from Old Valyria, they'll feel one way about you. It's kind of important, you know. Almost kind of like in the real world, but whatever. It doesn't matter. We decided that this is a new and evolved Westeros, even though it's in the past and should be more primitive, but whatever. Anyway, here's the fun part. Nobody in this entire fucking episode ever mentions that the kid doesn't look black. Nobody. And here, I gotta be honest with you. I knew this was gonna happen. Because again, I read the books. And so I knew from the very beginning that this was gonna be a factor. And the factor in the book is, again, Laenor looks Velaryon. He looks like a Valyrian. I'm sorry. He's a Valyrian. He looks Valyrian. So everybody was like, hey, why aren't you popping out silver-haired, purple-eyed boys? This is really weird, Rhaenyra. What the hell? And so from the very beginning, I was like, you know what? Fine. All right. I think it's stupid. They could have very easily explained it as, you know, they're from the Summer Islands. They could have just changed that a bit, but whatever. They didn't do it. And they didn't do it, but I thought, you know what? Well, at least they can still do the same thing. You know, they can be like, well, why doesn't this kid look black? You know, why doesn't he look even a little bit black? This is bizarre, Rhaenyra. What the fuck? Instead, what they're complaining about is the color of the kid's hair. So this is how stupid they've gotten. They have the perfect excuse. They have the perfect argument. They could have used the exact same argument. Like, hey, why doesn't he look like the dad? But they kept it, instead of using skin, they used hair. I don't get it. I don't get if they think it's offensive. I don't get if they think we're just that stupid. I don't know. Are they really trying to pretend this hard that nobody notices that these people are black? You did it already, okay? You did it. You made the characters black. All right? You justified it in a very stupid way, but you did it. Own it at least. You know? Own it a little bit. Just a little bit. Just, god damn it, just own it. I don't get what you're doing. I don't get what no balls whatsoever. I don't get it. I don't understand. But anyway, every single time that this kept popping up, it's like, okay, so now they're gonna mention it, right? Nope, nobody. Okay, fine, whatever. Now they're gonna mention it, right? No, okay. Now they're gonna. No, son of a bitch! Somebody please say that. Have the balls to be like, why are none of your kids, you know, like even a little bit black? Like not even like a teensy weensy little. Like, 'cause I get it. This dude's like half, or he's not like, because he's supposed to be at least half Targaryen, half Valyrian. I get it, but come on, like nobody. Like, the person writing this episode didn't know. Like, the actors didn't know. Like, no, not a single person had the balls to say, like, hey, why can't we mention that he's just kind of, you know, the babies don't look black. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. And you put yourself in this position, and I thought that you were doing it on purpose. Turns out, no, you're just that stupid. They are just that stupid. Anyway, I just need to mention that. Let's move on. So, clearly, again, we have more conversations. Basically, Rhaenyra shows that she's the one that, you know, wears the pants of the relationship, and Laenor kind of sucks. And also, we see that Kristen Cole's kind of not happy with them. That's pretty much what we see. So they go back to her chambers, and here we learn that apparently they already have 2 other boys. All right, so this would be Rhaenyra and Laenor's 3rd child. All of them white with brown hair, and we also get to see Sir Harwin Strong hanging out in the room. Now, Sir Harwin Strong actually has a pretty interesting story and has a pretty interesting nickname. What is it? I'm not going to tell you right now. I'm going to wait a little bit. But just suffice it to say, I don't understand why we did not see this character anymore. Like, coming back to this episode, it felt like we came to the time skip episode 2. I feel like we missed a lot. And here's the thing, they kind of had the time to develop it. Sir Harwin Strong was there. Breakbones was there in the show before. Why they decided not to use him, I don't know. But it could have been interesting. You know this whole thing about developing characters and, you know, making likables and having rivalries and all that stuff. That could have been fun. And, you know, building up stuff. Yeah, they didn't do it. Not even once. Not even a little bit with this character right here. So I'll get a little bit into a story. I don't think it's a spoiler yet. Let me just think real quick. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait, and I'll just tell it all at once. So we keep going, and we see the kids go to Dragon Pit, and Sir Harwin Strong's carrying the other kid. He's clearly like very happy about it. So it's more than heavily implied that this white brown-haired man is the father of the 3 white brown-haired kids who definitely are not even a quarter black. Anyway, let's continue. So we get to see the Dragon Pit. This is actually pretty cool. We get to see one of the dragons. They do not tell us the dragon's name, so since they did not say the dragon's name, or at least I didn't catch it, I think maybe they did. Maybe this one they did. Anyway, we get to see like small dragons, and every time there's a dragon, it's usually pretty cool. You get to see all the budget that went in there, and this actually got me thinking, is this why Disney's having so much trouble with their CGI? Because HBO stole all the good CGI people, and Amazon stole all the good CGI people, so now there's more competition. Is that it? I don't know, because I haven't really seen a lot of postings for jobs looking for animators. Well, I mean, I've seen some, but not like a crazy amount more. I don't know, just, you know, just thinking about that. Anyway, so we get to see the dragons, we get to see a little bit of the training, the bonding, we get to see the cousins hanging out, we get to see the boys, and we get to see the dragon tamers, the dragon caretakers, speak to the kids in a language that I've never heard before. Now, you would think they would be speaking to them in High Valyrian, but I guess not. It's really weird. I mean, Targaryens speak High Valyrian, and the people who trained dragons or tamed the dragons before were Valyrians, so you would think that they would be High Valyrians, but I guess not. I don't know why they did this, but it's stupid. Anyway, so you get to see the kids, you know, hanging out, dragons, and what you get to see one of the older cousins. These would be the sons. Again, this is very confusing. So the sons of Rhaenyra and Laenor are hanging out with the sons of Alicent and Viserys. So, just to clarify who's who here, Aegon is the oldest, and I believe this is Aemon. These two are uncles or step uncles to the sons of Rhaenyra. They are step brothers to Rhaenyra. So just, you know, they look close in age, but they're, I mean, again, they're not cousins. They're step uncles. Anyway, so they're hanging out, and then they say apparently the only one who doesn't have a dragon is Aemon. So they're like, "Hey, we got you a dragon, Aemon," and it turns out it's a prank. They got him a pig, and so he's pissed, and he's like, "How dare you give me a pig?" And so we see them go down into the dragon pits because he thinks that maybe he can train another dragon, and turns out that he's a big wuss, and he runs away. Anyway, we get to see Alicent hanging out with Helena. I believe that's the way you're saying that's her daughter. And Helena turns out that she's into bugs. She's kind of weird, but in an interesting way. You know, she's a scholar, and you know she's got high tower blood. The high towers are known for being nerds and stuff. So all right, understandable. And so the kids come in there, and apparently she's scolding Aemon for going into the dragon pit because, I mean, that's understandable, right? You don't want your son to go play with dragons. That's just not a thing you want in general. Like, I wouldn't want it. Like, unless I'm there. Like, actually, I'd be jealous because, like, I want to play with the dragons. But in general, you know what? I wouldn't even let kids play with my Nile monitor. Like, nieces and nephews. Because I'm like, if it bites you even a little bit, I'll get in trouble. So, yeah. Anyway, it's understandably wrong. Then we get to see Viserys finally doing what I expected him to be doing way sooner, which is painting his miniatures. Because, I mean, once you make a miniature, you need to paint it, right? That's like a thing. I've never done it, but I hear that's the hobby. And so he has his buddy who's helping him paint stuff, and he's there, he's enjoying it. Viserys is just trying to chill in his room, playing with his miniatures, but they keep bringing troubles to his door. Anyway, so they brought the trouble to his door, and and so Alicent basically is upset. And she's upset about the fact that none of Rhaenyra's kids have the silver hair of a Valyrian Targaryen. Again, just the hair. Nobody mentions the skin color. And so this brings Viserys to share a story. And it's the story about his horse. So he had a mare, which is a she-horse, and she was all black. And she escaped one day. And apparently when she escaped, she got bagged by a silver stallion. And so they had a baby, and the baby came out chestnut brown. That's pretty much said. And so it's one of those things you're like, my man Viserys knows genetics. How interesting. And again, nobody mentions the fact that right now, right here, Viserys is basically talking about the skin colors of the parents, and he doesn't think it's weird that, hey, the dad's black, the mom's white, and the kids are not even like a little bit mocha. Nothing. No, he's not mentioning it. So again, it's beyond me how stupid this is. Just, it's like reality exists. We're looking at it. Just kind of fucking accept it. I get it. Suspension of disbelief, blah, blah, blah. There's a limit to it, okay? So are we supposed to pretend? Like, am I supposed to pretend that the Valyrians look exactly like the rest of the other Valyrians? Is that a thing that you want me to do? And so, to me, the only weird thing is that the kids don't have silver hair. Really? Is that your argument? Seriously. This is so stupid. Stupid. But whatever. Anyway, Alicent's comeback is actually pretty solid, which is like, did you see them commit the act? Really? And here's a very interesting thing about new Alicent. New Alicent is not as likable as old Alicent, because the old Alicent was kind of, you know, naive and stuff. This new Alicent is very much paranoid. Justifiably so. The points in the history that's going on, everything, I understand her position completely. You know, her being, not just because I'm Team Alicent, it's because it makes sense for her. However, for the audience, it's kind of weird. The girl that we saw is not the woman that we're seeing, and it looked like she was growing to become like a strong, confident woman. In fact, she's kind of like paranoid and crazy. We needed to see her get there. again, totally justified. I get it, but we didn't see it, so it feels really, really off. And I mean really off. Anyway, so Viserys is basically just like, get out. You're crazy. And honestly, there's gonna be 1,000,001 theories about this. My theory is that Viserys, either, not that he doesn't want to see it, but I think he kind of likes it. I think he likes that the kids have brown hair. And let me explain why. Viserys, if you guys remember, kind of didn't like the Valerians. So I think it's funny to him, like, your son's getting cucked. You wanted to marry my daughter so that the blood of Valerians would sit on the Iron Throne? Well, suck on that, Corlys. Your son got cucked. So I think that he actually enjoys it. He knows that it's going to be a big drama, but a part of him is like, you know what? I'm the king. I can say whatever I can. If my word is law, my word is truth, and I'm gonna pretend like I don't see anything because I kind of like it. And honestly, that's really funny to me. So if I were in the same position where I could screw over my political rival who tried to screw me over earlier and who insulted me and all that stuff, I would do the exact same thing, and I would be just standing there with a big fat smile. Now, is he thinking about the consequence of this? Probably not, but whatever, man. There's a point where you just kind of have to go for the lulz. Anyway, so Allison, we see that her and Kristen Cole, you know, they become, you know, friendly. They discuss certain things, and here Kristen Cole basically he calls Rhaenyra a spoiled cunt amongst a bunch of other things. He calls her a spider, a spoiled cunt, and blah blah blah. And you know what he forgot to say? And a rapist. He should have called her a rapist right then and there. I don't know why he didn't do it. Again, reality. We all know what happened. We're with you, Kristen Cole. We saw it happen. We saw how you were crying, and you know how you took off your cloak that you still aren't wearing anymore, which is a little weird. And it's weird how you still look the same age, but whatever. Everybody else aged. You didn't. You just cut your hair. Anyway, we feel bad for you, man. Why can't they just add that and a rapist? That would have been really funny. It would have been super funny. Why? Anyway, moving on. So, yeah, damn it. Next we get Guy Butt. And here's something that I don't understand. I don't understand why we had to see that. Like, so basically you get to see Prince Aegon masturbating, and the mom standing right behind him. He's masturbating to a window. I don't understand why they showed that, to be honest, at all, whatsoever. There wasn't no need, or it didn't really provide anything. The only thing that it did is because, again, canon, based on the books, this dude was kind of precocious and he was after the ladies at a pretty young age, which is, again, understandable if you're a prince or whatever, or, you know, certain type of boy. But they could have done that a million ways. Like, just even flirting with a maid or whatever, or touching her butt inappropriately, something. They did not have to do this really weird masturbation scene in a window in front of the mom. They chose to do that. Why? You can have 1,000,001 theories here. My guess is that just a bunch of big fat perverts. And for some reason, this show thinks it has to be edgy. I don't know why. The best episodes are the ones that it doesn't even try to be edgy. It just lets the story itself, you know, be intense. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Stupid. Anyway, so the mom basically smacks the living hell out of Aegon and explains to him the situation that you're on. It's like, hey, either you're king or you're dead. That's long story short. They'll kill you, all right? They'll hate you. You're a complication. And the kid's like, well, what if I'm not a child? You shut the fuck up, boy. Just you living, you're a complication. You're gonna do it, or we're gonna whoop you, or they're gonna kill you. And Aegon's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Jesus Christ, I don't want to die. Next, we get to see a scene where we see Caraxes flying around with Daemon, and then we get to see this really big weird dragon being flown by Laenor. And again, it's weird because we have no idea who this dragon is. It's pretty big, and at this point, we thought that the biggest dragon that the Targaryens had was Caraxes. So it's probably a bit confusing to everybody who didn't read the books. Anyway, turns out, for everybody who didn't know, this is Vagar. I don't know how you want to call it. To say Vagar. For those of you who don't know who Vagar is the oldest and largest dragon at this point, and she does look pretty old. It's a female, by the way. It's a she. And so those are her pronouns, she, her. And so she was actually one of the original dragons to conquer Westeros when Aegon the Conqueror flew in on Balerion the Black Dread he came with his two sisters, and the two sisters flew, you know, each their own dragon. This one was written by one of the sisters, so it's like one of the big three. You know, it's like one of the big three dragons in history for the Targaryens, and she's being flown by Laena. You guys remember Laena is the 10-year-old Valyrian girl that they wanted to marry off to Viserys in episode 2, I think. Anyway, there you go. Also, if there was a scene here where Laena basically tells Vhagar to throw smoke, to throw fire up in the sky, and Caraxes and Daemon fly right through it. And here they sparked up an interesting conversation that's happened, let's say, in the books, because supposedly Targaryens are dragons, and they're fire, and dragons are fireproof, right? And so it's never exactly clear if Daenerys, because remember, if you saw Game of Thrones, Daenerys goes into a fire pit, and that's how her dragons got hatched or whatever. So she's basically fireproof, right? So it's never exactly clear if the reason why Daenerys can do that is because, you know, there was a magical red comet. If you guys remember the end of season 1, there was a red comet flying by, and it's not exactly clear if that enhanced her powers per se, or if it was like a special magical moment. And there's a bunch of theories about that comet. That's a character from one of other George R. R. Martin's books. Doesn't really matter. It's really complicated. And so still the debate standed as to could a Targaryen withstand dragon fire? Because dragon fire is not normal fire. Dragon fire is, again, it's basically hellfire. And so could they withstand it? And here it is shown by Daemon that you can go through dragon fire if you're a Targaryen and it doesn't really hurt you. Now, if he would have came out like a little smoky and his clothes on fire or something, that would have been cool. They didn't do that. So again, they really nerfed dragon fire here. But again, just fun fact in case anybody, if you cared, if anybody was wondering, like, oh man, how the hell did he survive that? That's ridiculous. Yes, it was. But technically, I guess it could be explained. But whatever. Next, we get to see Daemon and his beautiful family. We get to see that his wife Laena is pregnant, which, by the way, she should not be running a dragon if she's pregnant. And they have twin girls who are about, 6, I think, maybe older. And so they're staying in Pentos, and the dude from Pentos is like, hey, by the way, this set looks exactly like the Red Keep. Just, they made it look dusty and ugly, but it looks exactly like the Red Keep, like almost to a T. Now you could say, like, well, castles back then looked very similar, but they're in Pentos. They're supposed to look different. Try a little bit harder. Anyway, so the dude from Pentos basically is like, hey, stay here. We'll give you money. We'll give you this castle. We'll give you everything. And they're like, why? And it's like, oh, well, we've learned that, if you guys remember the Stepstones, this big deal that happened in earlier episodes where Daemon went to war with the Valyrians over there to beat the Triarchy, the pirates, the crab feeder, and all that stuff. Well, it turns out that they're kind of back, and it turns out that the Dornish have decided to join them in their war, so now they're a bigger threat. And so the Pentosi are like, hey, you stay here and you protect us. And Daemon's like, I'll think about it. Laena's like, I kind of want to go, but whatever. No, not whatever. She kind of wants to leave. Anyway, so again, he makes this deal. Then we get to see a conversation between Daemon and Laena, and Daemon's like, life's pretty easy here. Like, we don't have to worry about anything. That's pretty cool. I kind of want to stay. And Laena's like, but I want to go home because, again, we're better than this, and there's more. We have responsibilities, and I want to go back home and see my family, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah. By the way, Laena is another character with a very interesting story that we didn't get to see, but I'll get into her story a little bit later. Anyway, so honestly, Daemon is making some pretty solid arguments. Is like, well, we don't belong here. Well, we don't belong anywhere. We're the blood of Old Valyria. Old Valyria doesn't exist. We don't belong anywhere, so we can belong anywhere. Blah blah blah. Again, interesting conversation. Next, we get to see the kids training. I mean, all of them, step uncles and step nephews, being trained by Kristen Cole, and we get to see Sir Harwin there. Breakbones there to check out the training. Turns out that Kristen Cole's kind of rough on the kids, and so he makes the two oldest fight. And obviously, how old is Aegon at this point? He should be a teenager. And Jacaerys, I believe that's his name. Jacaerys? Jake? Did they call him Jake? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. He should be under 10 around, so it's not a fair fight. Like, one kid's already in puberty, clearly. And so the kid not in puberty yet, it's not going to be a fair fight. However, he's holding his own until, clearly the older kid takes takes control of the fight and starts whooping him. Kristen Cole's like basically like, whoop him. And so Sir Harwin gets involved, takes away the sword, and pushes the kid away. The kid's like, hey, you can't touch me, I'm a prince whatsoever. Honestly, to me, it's stupid because Sir Harwin had like a pretty good argument here. He should have been like, that's the heir, you dumbass. Like that's the firstborn son of the heir. You can't hit him like that. So that was a pretty good argument to me. He wasn't, he's the rightful heir to the throne. So I wouldn't have argued that one. Anyway, so Kristen Cole pushed his buttons and he's like, well, you really care for these kids, you know, like almost like you were their brother or their father or whatnot. And so he loses his temper and basically Sir Harwin kicks the shit out of him. And so these two actually have an interesting relationship. And I guess, you know, I'll just get into it now because it's better. So here's, I feel like, again, a missed opportunity of the things we didn't get to see in this time skip. So Sir Harwin Strong and Sir Kristen Cole actually have a duel together, and Kristen Cole is the reason why Sir Harwin Strong got the nickname Breakbones. So they were basically in a tournament, and Rhaenyra gave her favor to Sir Harwin. He went up against Kristen Cole. Kristen Cole just horsed him, and in the process of knocking him off his horse, he broke his clavicle and his arm and whatnot. And so from that point on, the court jester started calling him Breakbones. So even though it's a massively cool nickname, it's actually it's intended to humiliate him. So it's one of those things like, haha, I like what they did there. And so this is a rivalry that's been a brewing. And again, he's the reason why you have your humiliating nickname. He unhorsed you badly, and you're kind of like the same girl. There's a lot of potential for drama here that I don't feel that they explored enough. Like, they could have had like an epic rivalry going on between these two, and this is kind of what we got. Also, honestly, I think Kristen Cole, if he actually would have fought, he could have taken him. So an actual fight there would have been pretty cool. I get why he took the hits, but I don't know. It would have been better if we actually seen if we actually would have gotten a fight scene here, because, you know, these are two legit like A-list fighters that they haven't really taken advantage of. Anyway, so let's continue. So we get to see the baby again. What is it? What happened? All right, so Rhaenyra hears about the issue with Sir Harwin, and she goes to talk to Sir Harwin, and here we get to see a conversation between Sir Harwin and his father. Basically, Rhaenyra overhears that her father, again, you remember, Lionel Strong is the hand of the king, and so basically Sir Lionel's like, hey, everybody knows, you dumbass, everybody has eyes. The kids have brown hair. Again, not just saying it, but whatever. It's stupid. It's like, everybody can see. What are you doing? And Sir Harwin's like, you don't know shit. Which, again, no, don't confirm it, whatever. The point is, Sir Lionel's clearly distraught, and Sir Harwin brought a lot of attention to the situation per se. So, not a good thing that's going on. And again, we got to see that actually Sir Harwin is actually a pretty good actor. So, I don't understand why they did not take advantage of this guy more. You had him there for 5 episodes. Why not develop this character more? I don't get it. He just kind of popped in out of nowhere. Last episode, I don't think he even had a single line. He just carried off dudes. It's really weird. Whatever. Anyway, so we get to see Lady Rhaenyra coming back to being treated or whatever. And so then we get to see an interaction between her and Laenor. Laenor is basically like, hey, I want to go find the stepstones because, you know, it'll be cool. And Rhaenyra's like, are you stupid? Are you seriously stupid? Like, there's a big conflict going on here. You're going to stay here with me because, you know, there's a storm coming and, you know, I'm going to need you. And Laenor's like, but I don't want to. It's stupid. And Rhaenyra's like, I wear the pants in this relationship, and so you have to stay. It's not how it happened, but that's pretty much what happened. And here's something pretty interesting. Finally, Laenor calls her out on her shit because every single problem in Rhaenyra's life has been caused by Rhaenyra. Like, every single one. Like, she could have maybe not fucked Harwin. She could have maybe not fucked Sir Kristen Cole. She could have maybe not gone to a whorehouse with her uncle. Like, there's a lot of things that she could have done. She could have not lied to Alicent. She could have done a lot of things. Honestly, like, there's a lot of things that would have saved her from a lot of trouble. But anyway, right now, she's like, everything's in trouble and we're fucked up and they're gonna discover our lies and all this stuff and they're gonna discover that our sons are not the true-born heirs, blah blah blah, yada yada. So you need to stay here and defend me. And Sir Rhaenyra's like, are you fucking kidding me? I did my job. I did my part. You're the one who's fucking up, stupid. Like, you're the one who did stupid things. You're the one who got pregnant by somebody else, stupid. So it's all your fault. And so, I mean, what's Rhaenyra gonna say? It is her fault. Like, literally everything. Anyway, so she's like, yeah, but you got paid. Like, still, I mean, like, you paid me to do a job, not to fix your fuck ups, but whatever. So next we get to see Laena hanging out with one of her daughters, and the daughter's like, I want a dragon too. And she feels bad because she doesn't have one, and she's like, maybe one day you'll have one. And she tells like a quick little story about how at 15 years old she decided she wanted to have a dragon, so she wanted to basically hunt down the largest dragon in the world. And it's one of those things like that could have been fun to see, you know. Again, I'll come back to Laena later. But yeah, it would have been fun to see, you know. That I'll save it anyway. So get to see this little interaction, blah blah. Then Laena goes and talks to Daemon and tells her that she gets a letter that, you know, that Rhaenyra has had another son. And Daemon's like, oh yeah, does he look like basically like Sir Harwin Strong? So they're all the way out at Pentos, and even they know that it's probably not Laenor's kid. Like, this is massively embarrassing for the Valyrians, massively, hugely controversial. Even treacherous, like treasonous even. And so yeah, it's a, let's say it's a really big deal and a really big issue that all the way over there they've noticed. Anyway, and Daemon is basically like, yeah, I kind of don't want to go back, it sucks. And so you know, it's basically just, they just have this little conversation. Then we get to a meeting of the small council where they talk about the Blackwoods again, and their fight and their infighting and all this stuff, and how they pretend like it doesn't matter, even though, you know, again, this is a situation where you need allies, because there's two factions right now. They haven't mentioned them, which is weird. This is a weird thing about the show. They're focusing too much on the main characters, not so much on, let's say, the environment. They tell us, but we don't see it. We should see factions forming. You should have more characters, even if you just see them talking to them. And I get it. Every single time a character says something, you have to pay that actor more. I get it. You're HBO. You don't have enough money to do it. You need all your money to CGI all the dragons. I get it. Or for those scenes where you're walking for 30 fucking minutes. I get it. You know, money's tough. Money's tough to come by. Anyway, so something, you got to give us something that makes us feel like there's actually two parties here, because so far it doesn't feel that way, at least to me. And you need to feel like there's actually sides forming, and they need to be bickering against each other and stuff like that, you know, like in the real world. Anyway, you can see the small council meeting. They mention again the stepstones. They mentioned that the Dornish are being a part of it, which is, again, I think it should have been a bigger deal. The Dornish are not part of the Seven Kingdoms yet. Like, they ignored it for 5 episodes, but it's kind of a big deal. Anyway, so basically that's pretty much how how this conversation ended. And well, no, it ends with Rhaenyra apologizing to Laena and then being like, hey, how about if my eldest son marries your daughter, and, you know, everything's fixed. And so Alicent doesn't want to do it because Alicent basically is right. Now, would this solve everything? Probably. It would be a solution, yes. But Alicent is in the right here, because if you guys, you know anything about anything, and if you've been paying attention, you know that Rhaenyra's children are bastards. All right? Bastards have no rights whatsoever. In fact, what Rhaenyra is doing is treasonous. So it really is dependent on Alicent to trust in Rhaenyra so much that she's not going to kill her kids. And again, she has to trust Rhaenyra not to kill her kids when she comes into power. A lot. That's a big ask, considering that Rhaenyra has lied to her constantly. So I do not blame Alicent for not trusting her, and also for not trying to, you know, dig Rhaenyra out of a hole of her own making. Like, Rhaenyra has to some point suffer. At some point, she has to suffer the consequences of her own stupidity. So far, she hasn't. And so it's because she's being covered up by Viserys, who I think finds the whole thing funny, even though if it's a slight headache. But I get Alicent's side here. She's 100% in the right. She knows the kids are bastards. She knows that Rhaenyra has the power to cut the head off his own kid, of her kids. So why would I put her in a better position? It makes no sense from where she's standing, and you can't trust her. She was your best friend. She looked you in the eye and lied to you. So again, I don't blame her. But anyway, the point is she doesn't really want to take the deal, even though Viserys is kind of like, yeah, that would kind of solve all my problems. Yeah, not really. And so again, we get to see a conversation between Alicent and Viserys. They walk to the room, and here we get to see a sweet little, a funny little interaction where Alicent's fussing over Viserys because again, she's still trying to kind of convince him about stuff, and so she's trying to be extra nice. Sir Strong walks in, the hand of the king, Lionel Strong, and basically he's like, "Sir, I quit." We're like, "Why?" "Because there's a shadow standing over my house and it's bad for us, so I quit." And Viserys is like, "Name it. If it's so bad that you're gonna quit, name it." And here, listen, credit to Otto Hightower. Otto Hightower had the balls to tell the king something that he did not want to hear, like a really bad thing. However, again, Otto Hightower was not sacrificing his kid in that situation. Lionel here, first off, kudos for going there and doing this. This is the honorable thing to do. Forget about Ned Stark. Freaking Lionel Strong, as of now, is the most honorable hand of the king ever to walk in King's Landing, in my humble opinion. Anyway, however, he wasn't willing to sacrifice his kid. So, listen, you're doing the right thing. It's being there, quitting, and protecting your kid. Those are all good things. However, Viserys was like, "Fuck you, you can't quit." And so Lionel Strong's like, "All right, fine. Can I at least walk my kid home? Make sure that he stays out of trouble?" And Viserys is like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, you can go." So there you go. So Lionel Strong will remain hand of the king in that situation. And now Alicent's like, "Seriously? He basically said it and you still don't believe it? Like, why don't you believe it?" And again, here's Alicent's problem. If Viserys accepts what Alicent is saying, it means that he has to kill Rhaenyra. That's pretty much it. Now, Alicent doesn't really care because Rhaenyra is the source of all her problems, and she may or may not want to kill her children. So it's perfectly understandable. It's like she's the biggest threat in her life. So Alicent's basically like, well, I might. Viserys is like, well, if I do that, I might have to kill Rhaenyra. And Alicent's like, yeah, fucking yeah, do it. But again, from Viserys' perspective, I wouldn't want to do it either. So anyway, that's how that scene ends. And Alicent basically leaves, and she's pissed off. And we get to see that she's having a conversation with Loras Clubfoot, I think, who is the youngest son of the Harwins, of the Strong Boys. And so here, again, I do not like this dude's performance. He's too slimy, extremely slimy. And up to this point, you don't really see why Alicent has him as a friend. Like, I don't see somebody like Alicent hanging out with somebody who's this slimy. And he doesn't have to be. Like, the lines are not meant to be delivered that way, or I don't think they're written that way. This guy made a choice to be slimy. I mean, it could be a director, whatever, doesn't matter. I just don't like it. Is it wrong? I don't see what the point is. I don't see, like, why they're friends. I don't get it. I don't see them hanging out in the same circles. It's really weird. But anyway, basically, Alicent tells Clubfoot about the issue with the father and the son and his brother and all that stuff. And so he's like, all right, well, I get it. Yeah, the hand's compromised. It makes sense. Everything's going blah, blah. So he goes to a jail, grabs a bunch of prisoners, and he's like, hey, you want to not die? How about you do something for me? And so we get to see them get their tongues cut off with really hot blades, I guess. Now, this is actually kind of a throwback to something that happens in the books, except it's not Clubfoot. It's actually Viserys. Viserys, he said, there's a point in one of the books where he says, basically, if anybody mentions this again, the whole thing about, you know, his grandsons not being of Valyrian blood or being, you know, fathered by somebody else, I will cut off your tongue with a hot poker. So, rip your tongues out with a hot poker. So, that was actually a Viserys thing. They gave it to him. I don't know why. Would have made Viserys look cooler, but whatever. Next, we get to see Lena is having issues at childbirth. Big issues. And so we get to see basically a repeat of the scene that happened in the very, on, I believe it was the first episode, the birthing scene. And the doctor basically tells Daemon like, hey, yeah, we can't save the baby unless we cut the mom open. And Daemon's like, well, will the mom survive? It's like, nah. And so Lena then just leaves. Now, she was in a room filled with people, and Daemon was right there, and she sneaked out. So she's been, you know, giving birth for what I'm assuming is a while now. In the books, they say for a whole day and a night. And she just, you know, gets up and walks away from everybody, like very sneakily. Like, honestly, like, kudos to her. Like, her stealth skills must be off the fucking charts to sneak out of that room and get kind of a good distance away from everybody. Like, walk quite at least, you know, a few hundred yards from everybody, because Daemon is quite a ways away by the time that we see him. Anyway, she sneaks out of the castle. Again, nobody stops her. Nobody's like, hey, are you okay? Like, again, really weird. Really massively stupid, but okay. So she goes off to Vhagar, and she's like, Vhagar, Dracarys. Which, again, the whole Dracarys thing annoys me because it's something that Daenerys pulled out of her butt, and I'm pretty sure that's how it happened because nobody knew about dragons or whatever at that point. Anyway, so she goes like, hey, Vhagar, Dracarys, Dracarys. And so Vhagar shoots fire at her. Now, this is an interesting situation because I was very confused as to what she was doing. So, if her plan was to go and kind of like commit suicide, why wouldn't she just, you know, let the doctors cut the baby out of her? You know? Like, that would have made sense, right? Like, if you already decided, you know what, fuck this, I'd rather die than lose the baby, you'd be like, at least try to save the baby, right? That's what I do. Now, it is actually, I thought they were trying to be clever about it, and I thought, well, maybe she's like, okay, I'm not the blood of the dragon, but this baby is the blood of the dragon. So, if the dragon shoots fire at me and, you know, kills me and turns me to ash, the baby should be fine. And so Daemon will come and pick the baby off from of my ashes, and it'll be like the phoenix, and that would be super cool. And I thought, actually, that sounds pretty super cool. Like, seeing that would be cool. It would be like completely different to what happens in the books. But what the hell? It would be awesome to see. That would have been epic. And so, all right, we're getting like a little bit different history here, but it would have been awesome. It actually kind of goes a little bit in part with the prophecy of the prince that was promised, you know, the ashes and stuff. That would be awesome. Actually, I'm kind of liking this. Turns out that's not what they did. And so, since that's not what they did, here I'm going to take the opportunity to tell you all about Lena that they didn't tell you in the show. So, because now you know that she's dead. There's a massively wasted opportunity with Lena's story here. And just with the stuff on the show, again, not getting into details with anything else, just the stuff that we saw on the show, what did we see? At age 10, she wanted to get married to they wanted to marry her off to a king. Then afterwards, she was going to get married to one of the lords of the Stepstones, you know, one of the princes or whatever, lords of Pentos. And what happened? That's what we heard, right? You know, oh, Lord Corlys Velaryon is making an alliance with Lady Lena by marrying Lady Lena to somebody else. And then we saw her at the wedding of, you know, of Laenor and Rhaenyra, and her husband wasn't there. So we're like, what the fuck happened? We saw her kind of eyeing Daemon, but it's like, what the hell was he? I thought she was supposed to get married. What happened? Did he die? Well, here's what happened. It turns out that the king or whatever, or the lord that wanted to marry his son off to Lady Lena, he died. Like, immediately after the betrothal. And so the son was kind of a major fuck up, and so he gambled a lot, and he was a drunkard. And so when it took him he took a sweet time to go to Driftmark to get his bride, and when he got there, Lord Velaryon wasn't really that impressed. And so since he couldn't officially break off the marriage, he he basically kept postponing it, being like, oh, we can't do it now because of the war. Oh, we can't do it now because it's, you know, raining. Oh, we can't do it now because it's Tuesday. Stuff like that. So, you know, just, you know, keep rolling that, you know, kicking it down the road or whatnot. Anyway, enter Daemon Targaryen. So Daemon Targaryen goes to Driftmark, and he really takes a liking to Laenor Targaryen, who is, by a lot of historians, supposedly the most beautiful woman in the realm. And if you see the drawings of her, and you see her next to the drawings that artists have made of Rhaenyra Targaryen, Rhaenyra is not a looker. Like freaking Laena is a stone cold fox. Like, she looks like a hot Edelgard from Fire Emblem: The Three Kingdoms. Like, it's wild. It's like, check out the artist renderings. It's clearly, she's a stunner. And so Daemon is kind of like, mine. And so, again, since she's already engaged to somebody else, what Daemon does is he insults the other guy really badly, and so the other guy has to, you know, like, defend his honor with steel. So he tries to cross blades with Daemon Targaryen, who not only is a seasoned warrior at this point, but also has a Valyrian steel blade, Dark Sister, and so he turns him into ceviche, and that's how they break the engagement. Again, they can't break the engagement, but you can kill the guy. Like, feudalist rules, man. You gotta love them. Anyway, so he kills him, and so he takes Lady Laena as a bride, and since he knows that this is gonna piss off Viserys because it's a big political drama everywhere, they fly after the free cities, and they start having their adventures. Now, again, in this particular point of history, before the whole thing with Daemon, again, just want to get that thing of in the show out of the way, she decides, you remember the second episode when she's talking to Viserys, she asks about Vhagar. She wonders why nobody knows where she is. Well, that means that at some point in her life, she decided to go hunt this dragon, and she wanted to go ride it. Now, old dragons, they're not nicer, they're not tamer, they're actually, like, their temperament is a lot worse. And again, the biggest, oldest dragon in currently alive. So this girl but she wanted her dragon, so she needed balls of steel to go find it. So that's a very interesting adventure that we could have followed. So again, this girl, really interesting life. Again, from the whole thing about the, you know, being engaged to somebody else, to her chasing down a dragon and riding it, to Daemon Targaryen going up there and killing her fiance, to going off and having adventures in the free cities, and everybody being like, oh my god, these two largest dragons in the world, we got to go see them, all that stuff. That's an adventure. That's a story that we want to see, and we missed all of that in the time skip, and we didn't really have to. You could have shown us something. You could have shown us bits and pieces of it. And also, the timing here is really weird, because again, her story doesn't end there. By the time that she starts having babies, she wants to go back to Driftmark, and so they have the twins, and she's pregnant with another child, so they travel back to Driftmark. And at this point, Daemon sends a letter to Viserys, and he's like, hey bro, I'm sorry, but we're brothers, and I want you to meet my two true-born daughters. I want you to meet them. And so Viserys is like, fine, I love my brother. And so he accepts his apology, and this is, like, again, the second reunion of Daemon and Viserys, because Viserys is such a good chap and he's so forgiving. And so Lady Laena starts living Lady Laena and Daemon start living in Driftmark. At this time, her and Rhaenyra, Princess Rhaenyra, they become great friends. So they used to be friends before growing up, you know, because again, they're cousins, but now they become like super great friends. So as much as Rhaenyra hates Alicent, she loves Lady Laena. And so they get really close together. It's a really nice friendship. And so eventually that leads to her tragic death, which we saw here. And actually her death's a little bit different in the book. It's described that they have, after like a day and a night of labor, she finally has the baby. The baby only survives for an hour though, and it comes out horribly deformed. So again, this happens sometimes with Targaryen kids, and like, remember, it happened with Daenerys' child. And again, you remember episode 1, the whole thing about Viserys' kid. He always wanted a male heir, and he finally got one, and it died an hour later. That was actually Daemon's story. They stole it from him. Whatever, I didn't expect him to kind of do it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we kind of missed out on that. And then, so Lady Laena, knowing that she's going to die, she decides to walk out because she wants to ride Vagar again for one last time. However, she collapses on the way out and dies, and so Daemon picks her up and takes her back. And so then there's a whole thing about her funeral and stuff like that, since the families are so united, and it's a big tragedy because, again, a lot of the people here have Targaryen and Valyrian blood, so it's a whole big thing that I guess they can do, but it's not as interesting anymore because, again, Laena's a character that we really didn't get to see, all right? And I don't get why. She was interesting enough. She was definitely interesting enough. She's a girl who hunted down a dragon to ride it. It's crazy. That should have been a character that should have been front and center. Like, imagine you've seen her as a little girl, you know, hanging out, and all of a sudden the scene where they're telling her like, hey, yeah, you're gonna have to go and, you know, try to bang the king, and she's like, what? And then, you know, her deciding, I want to go, you know, hunt a dragon as a teen, as a 15-year-old, and then be like, oh, you're gonna be married off to this guy, and she's like, that guy's a fucking loser. And Daemon Targaryen showing up, and she being like, oh, ooh la la. And then, you know, then the other guy getting killed, but Daemon Targaryen, she being like, score, and then traveling off, and then the friendship with Rhaenyra, and how that blossoms, how they come together, and then her tragic death. Again, you need to build up the tragedy here. We don't care if characters who we've only really seen in one episode dies. Now I get it. We've seen her for a cup of coffee. You know, not even a cup of coffee. Like less than a cup of coffee. Less than a cup of coffee in the other episodes. Like, build them up. Make us care. Especially the tragic ones. You need to build up the tragedy. You need to see how happy Daemon is. You have to see him sacrifice stuff there. You need to see the kids. You need to care about the kids' reaction to all this stuff. You need to care about the dragon too. The dragon, you know, losing another rider. It sucks. It wasn't well handled. It was stupid. Whatever. Anyway, just now you know her story, and I feel a little bit better. Anyway, so let's continue. Next we see Sir Harwin saying goodbye to his boys and his girl, and he leaves, and it's really sad. And they're like, well, the oldest, I think, Jacaerys, I think that's his name. Doesn't really matter. Let's call him Jake. Let's call him Jake for now. And so Jake's like, am I a bastard? That was my father. And she's like, and the mom's like, you're a Targaryen, don't forget that, which is a terrible answer, but whatever. I mean, we already know you're a liar. Why don't you just keep lying? Because, you know, kids have a tendency to tell the truth or whatever. So, you know, bad idea. So anyway, we get to see Sir Laenor fighting with his boy Coral, and Rhaenyra being like, hey, yeah, we kind of have to leave for Dragonstone, and you can bring your boy toy. And Laenor's like, score. I mean, I didn't really want to go to there. I wanted to go fight in the Stepstones, but whatever. So that happened. Then we get to see the Harwin boys arriving in Harrenhal. Well, Harwin and Lionel Harwin and Breakbones arrive at Harrenhal, and some guys tailing them. And then we get to see their castle on fire. And so it is implied that Harwin Strong and Sir Lionel Strong get burned to death. Well, again, we don't really get to see it. We see Harwin kind of get burnt to death, and then we get to see like this, the grand result. So now, I mean, I guess I already told you the story about Harwin, like how he got the nickname Breakbones, and again, massively missed opportunity, missed storyline, and again, the tragedy. You need to build up to tragedy. The way that you build up the tragedy is we need to spend time with the characters. We need to know their story. We need to know where their heart is. We need to see him be a good dad. We need to see him have a rivalry. We need to see something. You need to make us care. You can't just drop a character from the middle of nowhere, expect us to care that he's dead. It's just not going to happen. This is actually like a massive tragedy. Like a massive tragedy. The death of the Hand of the King. You need to see the way that Lionel brought stability to the situation. This is a very deeply perilous political situation, and Sir Lionel must have been doing something to keep the troubles at bay, to keep the things off, you know, the headaches off of Viserys' mind. We should have seen that. We should have cared about him being there. We saw a little bit, and we saw it be a good man, be balanced, be fair, be objective. At Harwin, we didn't really get to see much. So massive missed opportunities here, and I don't get it. Who the hell's rushing you? Why did you feel the need to rush this? I don't get it. It's beyond me. And your story's weaker for it. You missed massively good opportunities for good storytelling. I don't know. I guess, again, they ran out of money. HBO did not give them any money. Woo! Anyway, so we get to see Dragonstone again, and then we get to see Viserys being sad, you know, kissing his dead wife's ring. Then we get to see bodies being dragged out, who we assume are the strong boys. Then we get to see Lena's body here. And again, listen, if a dragon shoots dragon fire at you, there's no bones left. Like, you disappear. We become ash instantly. Dragon fire is supposed to be, again, the most powerful thing in the world. Like, even volcano fire is like, yeah, we got nothing on that. So I don't get it, but I guess they needed to explain that there was a body there. So Lena died, and the episode ends with basically Clubfoot, Loris Clubfoot, telling Alicent that his father and brother died and that he did it. And she's like, what? Why did you do that? And he's like, because you told me they were a problem, and so I fixed your problem for you. And she's like, I didn't want you to do that. I didn't mean that. And he's like, yeah, you did. Kind of know you did. And even if you didn't, you kind of appreciate it. So, So again, really slimy character. Which now, I guess, he did something useful for Alicent. Maybe not what she wanted, but definitely useful. Definitely not good, but definitely useful for her plans, I guess, if she wants to get Otto Hightower back, you know, her father, and so it'll give her a little bit more allies in court, which is good. I mean, right now she really needs to get as many people on her side as possible, so having the Hand of the King there is definitely a benefit, and having Rhaenyra leave is definitely a benefit, but whatever. And she's like, oh, I didn't mean that. So again, I don't understand why this guy was hanging out with her, because before this I didn't really see him be useful to her in any way that anybody else could have been as useful. He didn't really give her advice, didn't really try to calm her down, nothing. So again, kind of a slimy dude, does slimy things, kills his own family. I don't know, like, I would not want to have that guy around me. Like, I'd get rid of him pretty quickly. I'd be like, hey Viserys, you know this guy, Lionel's son? Yeah, I mean, he's my friend. We had dinner, and I told him about that he was leaving and how it was a big headache to me and everything. And he just told me that he killed him. Can you help me, please? I'm a little scared. Or just tell Kristen Cole. He's like, hey, Kristen, this guy's crazy. He's killing his brother and his dad because he thinks that's what I wanted. Now, was it helpful? Maybe, but get the fuck away from me. But maybe that's just me. I don't want to hang out around with killers, especially, you know, kinslayers. So there you go. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, I believe that's how the episode ends. Yeah, that's how the episode ends. So there you go. That was episode 6, the big time skip, the much awaited time skip, the much dreaded time skip, and I believe I was right. So I mean, looking at the new actresses, I didn't really hate the performances. I think the ages are weird. Didn't really hate them. The performances were fine. Again, they don't compare to the other two because the other two is who we met originally. But more importantly than the girls, Viserys and Sir Lionel looked old, but really old, and they acted old. Like, the dude who plays Viserys is a phenomenal actor, because not only did he look really old and he felt like decrepit and stuff, like he was in pain most of the time, and like age hit him like a ton of bricks. He also, you didn't notice a difference the way he treated the original Alicent and the way he treats this one, and the way he talked to the previous Rhaenyra and the way he talks to this one. It felt the same. So it's one of those things. It's like in wrestling. It's not so much who throws the hit, it's who receives it, because that's the person who needs to sell it. So the person who does the slap is not really as important as the person who takes the hit. So that's the person who needs to sell it. And Viserys sold it extremely well. And I think he's the only character who talked to both, who we've seen talk to both before. So there you go. He continues to be, honestly, I'm massively impressed with the casting of that guy. The girls, again, they did a fair job. I don't like the way that certain things are going, but again, it's mostly because we missed out on so much interesting stuff. This felt, again, like episode 2 of the time skip. It's like, what the hell? Why are you doing this? Why are you jumping interesting stories? I don't understand it. The rivalry with Christian Cole and Breakbones, that would have been fun. The life of Lady Lena would have been phenomenal. I don't understand why you want to get rid of cool shit. I don't understand it, and it's stupid, and I hate it. But at this point, whatever, I'm kind of already committed. So there you go. That's a good place to stop. As always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World or at Dario SDW on YouTube and I'm sorry, on Instagram, YouTube and Twitch. I'm gonna do a live stream tomorrow, which, well, to me it's tomorrow. To you guys, it's gonna be today, Tuesday. We're gonna be talking NFL, so that's highly likely that's gonna happen. So unless something crazy happens and I decide to cancel my trip on Wednesday, we'll see how it goes. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.